On September 13, 2024, the United Kingdom was shaken by a horrifying incident in Luton, Bedfordshire. 18-year-old Nicolas Prosper committed a triple homicide, murdering his mother, Juliana Falcon, his 16-year-old brother, Kyle, and his 13-year-old sister, Giselle. His actions were not impulsive, but the result of meticulous planning, with intentions to carry out a mass shooting at his former primary school, aiming to surpass the death toll of the Sandy Hook massacre. This video aims to explore the complex web of psychological issues, online influences, and systemic failures that led to this tragedy. Welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we tell these stories with love and respect they deserve, and by the time this story ends, you'll be left with a chilling sense of unease, and more questions than answers about how we reached this unimaginable point. It's a case that shakes your faith in what's real, what's preventable, and how the most familiar faces can sometimes hide the darkest secrets. So kindly subscribe to the channel, as your support allows us to keep shedding light on these dark and important stories. Nicolas Prosper was born on December 18, 2005, to Juliana Falcon and Ray Prosper. Juliana, originally from Mar del Plata, Argentina, had migrated to England, where she married Ray. The couple had 4 children, including Nicolas. The family resided in a council flat on Luton's Marsh Farm estate. From an early age, Nicolas exhibited signs of social withdrawal and was often described as a geeky boy with a keen interest in computers. Teachers noted his social awkwardness and lack of interest in interacting with peers. Despite these observations, he managed to maintain a semblance of normalcy during his early school years. As Nicolas entered his teenage years, his isolation deepened. By February 2023, concerns about his mental health had escalated. He dropped out of school and his A-level studies in March 2023. Unemployed and increasingly reclusive, Nicolas spent most of his time at the gym or engrossed in online activities. One of the most alarming aspects of Nicolas's online life was his obsession with the character Clementine from the video game, The Walking Dead. He developed a delusional fixation, perceiving her as a real person who needed his protection. This obsession went beyond typical fan admiration. Nicolas believed he was chosen by Clementine, akin to how Christians are guided by Jesus Christ. He documented these thoughts in journals and videos, expressing a desire to preserve and maximize Clementine's content. In one video, he condemned actions taken by players in the game that he believed harmed Clementine, stating that those responsible would face severe consequences. Nicolas's descent into darkness was marked by meticulous planning of a mass shooting. He aimed to carry out the attack on Friday the 13th, a date he believed would add notoriety to his actions. His target was St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School, his former school, where he intended to kill 30 pupils, 2 teachers, and then himself. To execute his plan, Nicolas acquired a 12-gauge Nico double-barreled shotgun and 100 cartridges from a private seller, using a forged shotgun license. He paid £650 for the weapon and £30 for petrol money. The seller, believing the license to be legitimate, reported the sale to the police, but no immediate action was taken. In the days leading up to the attack, Nicolas's online activity included researching mass shootings, necrophilia, and the murder of Sarah Everard. He also watched extreme animated pornography and studied the impact of shotgun injuries to the neck. In the early hours of September 13, 2024, Nicolas initiated his plan. He intended to kill his family in their sleep and then proceed to the school. However, his mother, Juliana, woke up earlier than expected, leading to a violent struggle. Nicolas shot her in the head at close range, killing her. He then shot his sister, Giselle, grazing the back of her head, and stabbed his brother, Kyle, over 100 times. If you found this story disturbing, heartbreaking, or important, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support allows us to keep telling these stories, to honor the victims, to understand the warning signs, and to never let their voices be forgotten. A neighbor, Mariam Abbas, heard the commotion and called the police. Nicolas fled the scene, hiding the shotgun and ammunition in a bush. He then uploaded a pre-recorded video to social media, reiterating his delusional beliefs about Clementine and expressing contempt for his sister's in-game choices. At approximately 7:55 a.m., Nicolas flagged down a police car on Birmingham Road, surrendering himself. Officers noticed blood on his face and arrested him. During his arrest, Nicolas repeatedly stated, "It's not murder." Upon searching his devices, police found indecent images of children, but due to the severity of the murder charges, he was not prosecuted for these offenses. Nicolas was charged with 3 counts of murder, possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and possession of a bladed article in a public place. A forensic psychiatrist diagnosed Nicolas with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, noting an extreme lack of empathy and remorse that could not be solely attributed to ASD. Nicolas admitted to the murders and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 49 years. During sentencing, the judge remarked on Nicolas's desire to achieve national and international notoriety as one of the largest single-incident murderers in criminal history. His actions were described as a calculated attempt to gain infamy. Nicolas's case highlights several systemic failures. Despite concerns about his mental health and social withdrawal, he remained undiagnosed and untreated. His ability to acquire a firearm using a forged license underscores lapses in gun control measures. Furthermore, his online activities, including participation in forums that glorify mass murderers and the consumption of disturbing content, point to the darker corners of the internet that can radicalize vulnerable individuals. The horror that unfolded on September 13, 2024, did not just end 3 lives. It devastated an entire family and left a community shattered. Juliana Falcon, a devoted mother who worked tirelessly to keep her family afloat, was brutally taken from the very home she tried to make safe. She had done everything she could for her son, even when the warning signs grew too loud to ignore. Her love was unconditional, even as Nicolas pulled further away from reality. Her 16-year-old son, Nicolas Prosper, full of energy and promise, met an unspeakably violent end at the hands of the very brother he had likely grown up laughing with, fighting with, and trusting. He didn't deserve the horror that came for him that night, nor did 13-year-old Giselle, a bright young girl on the brink of her teenage years, whose only crime was playing a video game the wrong way in her brother's deluded mind. This was not just a case of untreated mental illness or violent obsession. It was the systematic unraveling of a young man lost in fantasy, detached from humanity, and consumed by a darkness no one around him could fully reach. And while Nicolas Prosper now sits behind bars, likely for the rest of his life, the damage he left behind cannot be undone. A mother, a brother, a sister, gone forever. Their tragic murder were not only a devastating loss to those who loved them, but their deaths also unknowingly prevented the mass school shooting Nicolas had meticulously planned for that very morning. In their final moments, they may have saved countless innocent lives, though the cost was unbearably high. In the end, this case isn't just about Nicolas's obsession with a fictional girl named Clementine. It's about the real people who suffered the consequences of his delusions. Juliana, Kyle, and Giselle were not characters in a story. They were real. They mattered. And they deserved so much more than the fate they were given. Let their names be remembered, not for how they died, but for how they lived, loved, and tried to hold their family together despite the growing shadows. The tragic case of Nicolas Prosper serves as a stark reminder of the complex interplay between mental health issues, online radicalization, and systemic failures. It underscores the importance of early intervention, robust mental health support, and vigilant monitoring of online spaces to prevent such atrocities. As a society, we must learn from this tragedy to implement measures that identify and support individuals at risk, ensuring that no one else falls through the cracks with such devastating consequences. If you found this story important, disturbing, or eye-opening, please consider subscribing to the channel. We uncover the darkest corners of human behavior, not to glorify the horror, but to better understand it, so tragedies like this might one day be prevented. Stay safe, and remember, behind every headline is a human story.